The Flash is a show where, despite its up and downs through all 9 seasons, there is no doubt that this show has had some insane moments all the way throughout, whether it be through crazy moments that we see our Scarlet Speedster do, or just insane twists and reveals. The Flash has always been consistent with this, and this is why in this video we will be going over the 10 of the most craziest and insane moments of The Flash, along with a couple of honorable mentions as well. And in this top 10 we are specifically just going over the show's version of The Flash, so the one we've had for all 9 seasons. And without wasting any more time, let's just get straight into this. Now, despite how awful The Flash season 5 was, it was one of those seasons where the show genuinely had such insane moments, and this was certainly one of them. This scene was one of the best twists ever on the show, where we find out exactly why Thawne was helping Nora this whole time, and it is to destroy Cicada's dagger, and it all leads to just such an insane reveal where Ralph figures it all out, and how, Thawne's been orchestrating this whole storyline of destroying Cicada's dagger for a specific purpose. We find out that this dagger is the only thing keeping Thawne in prison, and when it's destroyed, that means that Thawne is free from prison. And what makes this so good is just the ongoing mystery in terms of why Thawne was so determined to help Nora destroy this dagger in the first place, and it all led to such a crazy reveal that no one was expecting. It was definitely one of the craziest moments in the show.
Yes, Nora.
Now, this was another scene from season 5, and probably the more crazier twist in my opinion, because this was something no one expected as well. We find out Nora was speaking to someone in Speed Force language, communicating with a specific recipient. And we find out that Nora has been working with the Flash's arch enemy, Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash, this whole time. And this whole mysterious build up with Nora being suspicious, Sherlock, questioning Nora's activities and everything like that, like her actions as well as the Speed Force language. All of this just adds to the mystery and just makes this Reverse Flash reveal just so insane and something no one was expecting. Now, the reason why this goes as an honorable mention and not as one of the ranked numbers is because, yes, it's a very crazy scene, but the scenes I have are just so much better, and this is why this deserves an honorable mention. There's going to be much more honorable mentions in this video, but this was definitely one of the very memorable moments, and it was crazy at the same time, so it does deserve a spot in this video. But we pretty much see Barry just level up to a point where he literally humiliates the Reverse Flash, and we see how much faster Barry has become, to such an extent where, this villain was directly parallel to the speed of the Flash throughout the show, and Barry was literally able to make him look frozen in super speed, which was just so crazy to see. And just to spice it up even more, we do have Barry taunt him. He's like, "I got faster, didn't you?" So this was such a memorable scene because it was the first time we've seen Barry do this to a speedster, and he absolutely humiliated his arch enemy. Now, once again, this is one of those scenes where it doesn't really deserve a ranked spot, but it is an honorable mention. And the only reason why this is not higher, and the reason why this is an honorable mention and it's not ranked, is because this scene did get leaked and spoiled. Well, not this scene, but this reveal did get leaked and spoiled. It's through set photos and promo images. We already knew this was going to happen. So leading up to it, for fans, diehard fans that keep up with the stuff, they already knew that this reveal was going to come. But for other reactors that have not seen this scene before, they've lost their minds. This was one of those scenes where, like I said, we already knew it was going to happen, but it was just really cool seeing the Flash become the Reverse Flash and Reverse Flash becoming the Flash. It was a really cool twist regardless. But because I already knew this was going to happen beforehand, it cannot be ranked any higher, and I don't think because of that it doesn't really deserve ranked spot, and this is why I put it as an honorable mention, because despite that, some reactors that I've seen online who have not seen any of the leaks or anything like that lost their minds in this scene, and it was still definitely an insane moment. Now, this scene was absolutely insane, once again due to how intense the situation was, along with the incredible setup and mystery towards the start of the episode, such as Barry seeing another version of himself running right next to him. It gets all of us curious. Just everything in terms of the setup and how the whole moment plays out. Everything was just so insane. And this scene was so insane to a point. We have Barry seeing what he has to do. He has to run a specific speed that he's never run before, and we just see him running back and forth trying to stop the tsunami from hitting the city. And it was so intense, because it just looked like the fate of everyone's lives rested on Barry's shoulders, and seeing him carry that burden, running across the city, still trying to save it, and then ending up accidentally time traveling back to the past and seeing the version of himself that he saw at the start of the episode. But little do we find out that one's a future version of Barry and then the other one's a past version of Barry. I thought this was all really good, and this whole setup and the way they just tied everything together was very well handled.
Show.
Now, this is my favorite scene probably of the whole show, and was definitely an insane moment, but other scenes in this show did have a bigger mind-blowing effect, so this is why this seems low on this list compared to others. But this scene speaks for itself in terms of why it's so insane. The intense buildup of Barry trying to stop an already exploded nuclear bomb, from destroying the city and killing people. He freezes time to try and find a solution in super speed, but he keeps failing. He's at his lowest, and we just get a very good acted scene between Barry and Iris. Iris gives Barry the motivation that he needs. And we have one of the most jaw-dropping moments of the show, where we see Barry run into the Speed Force. He grabs that Quark sphere and literally outruns the source of his own powers, which is the Speed Force. And the fact that we saw the Flash do something like that, we know he's capable of being so fast. But the writers love to nerf him. But this was one of those moments where we actually get to see genuinely how fast the Flash is.
My mom. You're the reason I buried her.
The incredible intense buildup of this episode plays a huge factor to why this scene is just so crazy and so incredible. Once again, this is an honorable mention, and the reason why is because, like I said, the other things I have on the list just are so much better, and that's why I just cannot give this a ranked one, but it does deserve to be on this video. But over here we have Barry getting infected by Ramsey's blood, and he's just going insane. We find out in this episode that if Barry accepts Ramsey's control, he is guaranteed to survive, and he's guaranteed to survive Crisis, but he would become pure evil as a result of accepting blood work and embracing blood work. But if he chooses the Speed Force and fights off Ramsey's infection, then he will die in Crisis, but his legacy still remains a hero. And through Ramsey's manipulation, we see Barry just going crazy. He's getting manipulated, and it all leads to such a moment where you're just questioning, what is Barry going to choose? And eventually you see Barry literally pull a reverse flash on someone wearing the face of his own mother. It was just crazy. It was such a well acted scene, and on top of that, I don't think anyone was expecting the fact that Barry would actually end up choosing Ramsey's blood. So all of this was just so cool and just so crazy to see.
Forgive me, but to me you've been dead for centuries.
Now, this scene brings multiple emotions to you, not only due to the incredible acting between the actors, but also it has to do with the emotional build-up and the very high tension there is in this scene. In this scene, Harrison Wells reveals himself as Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash to Cisco, and we go on to have a very emotional and just very incredible acted scene, very good acted scene between the two. And it was just such a cool father-son betrayal scene. Cisco feels so broken, he feels so betrayed, and Eobard is just so menacing in this scene. And then we hear the line, "In many ways you have shown me what it's like to have a son." and then he goes on to actually kill him that no one was expecting. It was just an insanely jaw-dropping moment, and I believe could have actually deserved a higher spot, but personally I think there is better. Now, once again, this is a scene that speaks for itself. We have never ever seen Barry get so brutally beat up by a villain, and it just completely elevates the threat of Zoom. And we have Zoom like literally doing things that we've not seen any speedster villain do. Like he literally catches Barry's lightning, throws it back at him, and we have him just beat the living crap out of us, like out of our main character. And although we said like yes, we've never seen Barry absolutely humiliate his enemy before, in this scene it's the opposite way around. We have never ever seen a villain just absolutely humiliate like our main character the way Zoom has. Like literally he beats the living crap out of him, drags him across the city, publicly humiliates him. All of it was so insane, and it just adds to the threat of Zoom. And once again, this scene just shows why Zoom was one of the best villains, if not the best villain of the show. Now, arguably could have been part of the top 10, but it does fit as an honorable mention as there were scenes that are crazier, and I don't really want to ruin the spotlight in terms of the other scenes. But over here, this was one of the most insane moments of the show. We literally have Barry time traveling back to the night of his mother's murder, and he just feels so alone because of the death of his father. He goes back in time to the year of 2000 and stops the Reverse Flash from killing his mother. And this was just such an insane cliffhanger to end off the season. And despite the disappointment season 3 gave, it did set up the coolest comic book storyline of the Flash. That is, of course, Flashpoint. But because of how disappointing season 3 was, like it doesn't really give like it doesn't really add to the satisfying effect that the season 2 cliffhanger had. But like I said, there is better in my opinion. That's why this is not ranked. But I would also argue that because of how bad they've handled Flashpoint in season 3, I cannot rank this any higher as well, because the cliffhanger did not pay off very well.
Beautiful as the one standing next to me, to Iris West. The love of my life.
Now, this was such a crazy and definitely an insane moment on the show. During the episode, we found out that someone has changed the timeline to make it look like the Flash has gone rogue and that Joe has died. So we have Barry time traveling to the year 2031 to investigate who has done this, only to have Barry walk into a party filled with his friends. And we have his arch enemy hand to hand with his wife, and she's literally engaged to Eobard Thawne. And because of the timeline changes, the Flash and Reverse Flash swapped roles, and Eobard just smirking at Barry this whole time. I absolutely loved it, and this was definitely such a cool moment on the show.
Barry, Joe died 6 months ago. You know that.
What?
Now, this scene was just so insane and just unforgettable, and the reason why is because of the 2-episode insane mysterious setup and the seeds planted to certain things, and it really made fans question certain things like why Joe is not around, why is Cecile feeling so out of character, and why Barry doesn't like notice anything going on despite others do. And it just leads all the way up to this reveal where Barry finds out that Joe died 6 months ago, and he's just in a state of confusion. He goes into the house only to find out that indeed, yes, Joe did die. And it was just so well handled. Like they've used these 2 episodes to really set this up so well. We then had Barry supposedly terrorizing the city on top of that as well. All of it just makes the Scarlet Speedster go so crazy, so insane, because he has no idea about all of this. Like he feels like he's forgetting things, he doesn't remember certain things. But of course later on we do find out why this happened. But regardless, this was definitely such an insane reveal.
Well, this is a complication.
Now, I would not argue which way around you put this, but I would say number 1 and number 2 are pretty much tied together. In regards to this one, No one saw this coming. It was so unexpected and so crazy. Also, same goes with number 1 as well. But we have this guy literally impersonating Jay Garrick for more than half the season. And we then see him die, only to find out he is Zoom all along. But yeah, like I said, I definitely will not argue if you want to put this number 1. I just think that there's something else that deserves number 1 spot, but I would tie these equally. But again, Zoom's reveal was absolutely insane and no one was expecting this at all. But what I think is the better reveal is the one I'm going to mention right now. Now, yes, I know. A lot of people would argue that the previous one was better, and like I said, I would not say no to that. Like, I wouldn't even argue against that. However, this one I do prefer a little bit more. We see the reverse flash for the first time properly in this episode. He goes on to then fight Barry, destroys Barry, then goes on to beat up Harrison Wells. Little did we know that Harrison Wells is not actually Harrison Wells, but he is Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash, although that does get revealed much later on in the season. At this time, we did not know this. At this time, we just see it as Harrison Wells is the Reverse Flash. But the Reverse Flash reveal itself was just so insane. We see like Harrison Wells in the time vault and he puts on the flash ring. It just gets us all curious and everything, like what's going on over here. And then we have the Reverse Flash suit just pop up and he goes on to say like Merry Christmas in Reverse Flash voice. It was so crazy, so unexpected, and Harrison Wells actually being the Man in Yellow was just so insane. It made everyone lose their minds. And like we see, like literally we saw this guy beat himself up, so it makes people question how on earth did he end up doing that. And then we get this reveal later on. Of course, like I said, we do find out that it was a speed mirage, but over here we don't know this. And like I said, at this moment, we didn't know Harrison Wells was Eobard Thawne. We didn't know that they were the same person. So, like, you know, you would have thought that they would have done Eobard Thawne as Reverse Flash. So just having Harrison Wells as the reveal of the Man in Yellow, I thought was more insane. But again, I would not argue in the slightest if you do say Zoom's reveal was better. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought about all of this. I'm interested to see all of your thoughts towards all of this as well. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.